So let me get this straight. The airlines can basically threaten and extort the government saying, hey, if we don't get our money by October 1st, we're going to fire tens of thousands of people, right? But we can't even get another stimulus check. Make it make sense. In this video, we are going to talk about the not so heroic Heroes Act number 2, I guess volume 2. Volume 1 is, I guess, somewhere in the clouds. I don't know what happened to that. But we're going to talk about this new proposal. The likelihood of them getting something passed, I think it definitely has to happen soon. It's just a matter of what's going to get passed. And we're also going to talk about bailouts and how do you guys feel about it, because it's really unfair what we're seeing, and I think we need to really raise more awareness. We need to get upset about the right things, y'all. I'm tired of people getting upset about celebrities and dumb gossip. Okay, so let's talk about all of that and more. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. All right, welcome back. I am here to teach you all the things that you should have learned in school about money, but for whatever reason they forgot to mention it. Please be sure to subscribe, and if you really about your money, hit that bell. We talk about everything from personal finance to investing to the economy. Let's get into it. All right, so this stimulus bill should be passed hopefully by next week. I am recording this on September 30th. Okay, so this is going to get posted sometime in October. So hopefully we've either got it approved or something like that. I don't know, you guys. Like I told you guys, I actually said this before, that in one of my other stimulus videos, that we would not really see stimulus until the fall, and it turns out I was right. And the reasons why I said that was because all the other stimulus was going to kind of wear off in the fall. So I remember saying September we would see something, and I know a lot of people were upset about that, but that's just the reality, right? They're going to try to milk it as long as they can. They don't want to give people money, I guess, too soon. I don't know why, because if the corporations need it, they're going to get it ASAP. But for whatever reason, you got to make $1,200 stretch for months, okay? That's the way of the world. So excuse me for looking down, but I want to get the correct details. So for this Heroes Act, none of the heroes are actually getting money directly. Indirectly, they're kind of saying, okay, we're going to give some more money to the states and to local government so they can keep these people employed, but you're not getting a direct check, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, if you're going to call it the Heroes Act, let's do something heroic, because right now, I don't know, okay? But at any rate, they are going to have the $600 a week of unemployment benefits extended through the end of January, which would be extremely awesome for people who actually need that money, right? Also, the stimulus check was built into this, the same kind of situation as the CARES Act, where you get $1,200 per adult and then an extra $500 for a dependent. The only difference with this one is that any dependent can get it, okay? So even if you have an adult that you're taking care of, they can get the $500 too, which I think is great, because you shouldn't be excluding people based on their age. If it was race, it would have been racism, okay? So let's not do ageism either. Of course, more PPE. Something that I found interesting was that they're going to actually extend food stamps to include hot food. If you guys ever been on food stamps, you know they don't tell you can't get hot food, which I never understood. So that's something we should keep after Corona too. I'm just saying. And honestly, there was tons of other funding ranging from the Bureau of Indian Affairs to Fish and Wildlife. They really try to squeeze as much as they can into these bills, which is really frustrating. I mean, if you really want to help the people, like I've said before, actually approve things that are going to help because of the coronavirus. I don't know what the Indian Bureau has to do with anything, but the American people want a stimulus check, okay? They need it, and if you're going to give these businesses and these big corporations bailouts and give them PPP money that was supposed to be for small businesses, but for whatever reason, everybody and their mama got it to get a Lamborghini, you know, that's not really right. You need to have better controls over these systems. It doesn't make any sense, and you kind of wonder, what are y'all doing? You have all these people working in the government, and you guys couldn't see that some of these people were actually very rich. Shake Shack, really? I don't even want to get into it. But basically, you know, a whole bunch of other wild things. $25 billion to the airlines, since they were, you know, threatening to fire people, and extending the student loan deferral until September 30th of 2021. So that would be a great big break for those who are drowning in student loan debt. Now, a lot of people might make the argument of, oh, well, these corporations, they're too big to fail. And they actually said themselves, it's hard to lend to small businesses. Really? I really want to challenge that, because it was actually very shocking to me how you guys got stimulus checks to most Americans like that. And there's less small businesses than there are Americans. So use that same energy that you use for the stimulus check to small businesses who actually really need you. There's so many small businesses I've actually experienced myself where they're struggling to survive, while people in the top 1% have really added billions of dollars to their net worth. I have a whole video that I'm going to be making very soon talking about the government, so you'll definitely want to watch that because it's going to be very interesting. But it's very, very bizarre to me how they can say it's hard to lend to small businesses when they were able to give money to almost every single individual American. If anything, it should be harder to give money to these big corporations because you have access to so much more capital. You have a household name. You should be able to manage your money better because you're actually in control of your money, right? And I'm talking about big businesses right now, okay? So why should American Airlines or other airlines get money when they are literally buying back their own stock for the past few years? No, you should manage your money better. We shouldn't have to pay for that. You should be taking care of your own businesses because you should have the capital to make sure you are well funded. And excuse my passion, but honestly, the airlines are just on something else, okay? I understand that they are getting hit super hard. Yes, I get it, but it just doesn't make much sense to me because you guys weren't having good practices back then. If Apple were to run into this issue, they would probably be all right because they sit on a lot of cash. I'm not saying that everybody should just be sitting on cash because sitting on a whole bunch of cash is not necessarily profitable either because of inflation and, all of that jazz. But you should, it's possible, right? These companies, some companies are actually doing it. So there's really no excuse. And they're saying they want 15 to 24 months of funding. Excuse me, the American check didn't even last for 15 to 24 minutes. That $1,200 check evaporated. And I really want to know how you guys feel about these bailouts. A lot of people think, we're too big to fail. If they fail, they're going to lose a whole bunch of jobs. Americans are not going to be able to work. I totally get that. And if I was working for one of these companies that had to fail, that would be unfortunate. But it would send the right message across. What did we do in 2008? We taught these companies that they can just do whatever they want, buy back their stock, be very irresponsible with how they're managing their money, and Papa government's going to come around and give them a whole big check with our names as the ones that are going to be paying for it, okay? So that sends the wrong message. And there's not a guarantee that because you have to fail and file bankruptcy that you're going to lose your job. Okay, companies that were actually managed the correct way, companies that actually saved, that actually planned for acquisitions, that planned for expansion, they can pick up these failing companies for a discount. They would get rewarded for good behavior. They would get rewarded for managing their business properly, okay? And those who did not manage their business properly, they would fail. That is just what a free market would do. People want freedom so badly, but having government intervention is not free. It actually develops a dependency on the government, as we can see right now. And nowhere, no one, I don't care what anyone says, it's not always good to be dependent on somebody, okay? Because they can just yank their hand back whenever they want to. They have a lot of control over you. For us, we can't fail like that, right? We can't be irresponsible because we're going to have an ugly mark on our credit report for 7 to 10 years. It's going to follow us around. It's going to stop us from doing a whole bunch of stuff. We don't just get a lump sum dropped in from who knows who, right? We don't get that. And I feel the same way about, bailouts at the individual level as far as stimulus checks and unemployment. Of course, people need it. And like I've said, I think plenty of times before, we've gotten ourselves into this hole. So at this point, aid is almost like inevitable. But it's never good to depend on people. This can end really ugly when people are depending on this money and then the government's like, we can't do it anymore. Or like you have seen, they're just dragging their feet and they're just pointing fingers. Oh, it's the Democrats. Oh, it's the Republicans. Like, be adults, okay? Come together, have discussions. Like, how are you getting paid this much to argue? I don't get paid $1 to argue with people, okay? And I argue pretty well. It's really hard to think that this is not a direct attack on middle-class Americans because it's like we get hit from both sides. And I would love to think positively about the government and those that are in charge, which I personally think is above the government. I think the banks are in charge, but another story for another day. I would like to think that they're good and they have our best intentions at heart, but it's really hard to believe that when I see what's going on, when I see Americans struggling, when I see people arguing, quote unquote, over a stimulus check. I mean, you guys spend trillions of dollars without any problems any other day. And if you really care about the American people, then show it, show it through your actions. And of course, I don't want to sound like an alarmist because I don't want people to get spooked out or a lot of people tend to get triggered by these things because it doesn't really flow with the official narrative. But I want people to just be more open and have a more open mind and more critical thoughts, okay? you have to, I urge you to really focus on being as self-sufficient as you possibly can and really work on having your own business. You don't beat the game by not playing it. You beat the game by learning the rules and excelling at it. That's what the rich people do. They learn the tax code. They learn how to hide their money in certain assets, and then they make that money make money for them. So we're going to do that, okay? Watch my videos. I go over great detail. I'm doing it right now, so I definitely want us to create a community of people who are taking care of themselves and who learns the game so we could play it too. But that will do it. If you like this video, then please like this video and share with your friends. And if you have anything else going on, you know what to do. Go ahead and binge watch me. And until next time, keep your money up.